Hey guys, it's Savannah and welcome back to my channel. Today is Monday, March 3rd, 2025, and we are finally back for another podcast episode. Sorry I missed last week. I totally wanted to record a podcast episode last week, but it was just so jam-packed with just wedding planning and all that stuff. So I can't even remember if I did anything on Monday other than go to work and then come straight home and just feel miserable because I felt like I was getting sick. And my job has a very strict attendance policy during the 30-day probationary period, so I could not afford to be sick and miss work the next day. So if I did anything else after work that day, I don't remember it. Tuesday after work, I went straight to a taste testing with the caterer, with Cole and the rest of my family, because they wanted free food. So they joined us. The food is amazing. I am so looking forward to it. We are doing a salad bar with some fruit options, as well as a pasta selection for our dinner. And our caterer makes these amazing cheese biscuits that are so much better than the Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuits. But we are also doing baked spaghetti and meatballs, and grilled chicken fettuccine alfredo. So we are having plenty of options for family members based on their diet preference. Wednesday, we went and looked at a townhome after work, because we are still trying to find somewhere to live after we get married, which is getting closer. So yeah, our wedding website is keeping me scarily anticipating the countdown, because, like I said, a lot to do. Still need to find a place to live, but very exciting. Very, very excited for our actual wedding. Thursday, I picked up our wedding bands after work and then went to a meeting with our wedding planners, because still have a few details to iron out. And then Friday, I had my first wedding dress fitting, which was honestly a little bit nerve-wracking because my dress was supposed to be in on February 16th, but it did not get here till Friday, the day of my fitting. So they were calling me at work, not the tailor, but the bridal shop. They called me at work and were like, "Your dress is here." I was like, "Oh, thank God. Would you mind driving it to the tailor for me, because I do not have time to pick it up after I get off work and get to the tailor." So thankfully the bridal shop is full of lovely, wonderfully generous and kind people who drove it over to the tailor shop for me. So yeah, that was a little nerve-wracking, but thankfully my dress is just as gorgeous and beautiful as I remember it being, and thankfully my measurements fit the size they ordered well enough that they only have very minor alterations that I need to do. And I am not showing any pictures or saying any more because Cole does occasionally watch these episodes, and he's not allowed to know what it looks like yet. So yeah. And then Saturday was just insaneness. Had a little pre-wedding party with some lovely women in my life. I had my other bridesmaids and who's one of my best friends from high school and college surprised me by coming into town for it, so I spent the day with her. And then Sunday, yesterday, I had church and I spent the rest of the day with Cole until I had to come home and get ready for work the next day, today. So yeah, I had a very busy week last week, but I'm finally here for another episode. But even with all of this craziness, I have been enjoying settling into a regular 8 to 5 job. It just makes me feel so much better to have my evenings and weekends available to spend time with family and friends and get all of this stuff like wedding planning done and settled. But yeah, even with all of this craziness and settling into a new schedule, I have still found time to continue crocheting, and it has been a very relaxing and decompressing part of my day. And so I am very excited to share what I have been up to these last few weeks with you guys. So let's get started looking at some of these whips. Alright, first things first, let's talk about what I had hoped to have finished by this point, but I do not have finished because I got distracted and derailed. So, this is my Angelic Mystery shawl, which, as you may know, if you've been keeping up, I am making with my weekly advent calendar from 2024 from Holly Dyeworks. It was the Rejoice advent calendar, and the colors are absolutely gorgeous. But I cannot wait to have it completely finished and get some pictures of it because I absolutely love it. But this tealy green blue color at the bottom, color number 4, I absolutely love how it looks compared to the rest of it. But I am not quite done yet, because like I said, I got distracted and derailed. But this is what color 4 looks like still in the skein. I have about 55 grams left in the skein, and I am not quite done with row 58. I had to double check what row I was on because I could not remember, but I still have about half of the, I was about to say half of the second half, that would be a quarter. I still have about a quarter of the row left, so I think I can get probably another 2 rows out of this, so it should be sitting at around 60 rows, maybe 61, because I'm still trying to decide if I just want to leave it without a border or add a border to it. So we'll see. But as you can tell, it is getting long still. The wingspan is about 34 inches. So yeah, about like this. And from the middle to the tip of the middle point is about 20¼ inch of depth. So it is getting fairly large, but let's just see real quick if it can make it around my neck. Kind of, but not really. It is very loose, so if it's not completely wearable, it'll at least make a very pretty statement piece to display. But I am very happy with it either way. But yeah, I am still in love with the lacy design of it. I love how it looks, and getting pictures of this is going to be one of my favorite things this year. It won't top my wedding, but it'll still be pretty awesome. And just, if any of you are interested or need a reminder, the yarn is fingering weight, and I am using a 3.25mm crochet hook. So a little bit of a bigger size than recommended, but it helps with that lacy look, which is just absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, that is all for this one, so let's get on to the next project. Okay. I can't really remember when I worked on this last, but I checked my notes from the last episode, and apparently I did. So this is the Alpine Landscape Cowl. I am making this with part of my minis from my Greatest Showman calendar, advent calendar from 2024, which was by Castle View Yarns. The other part of the minis, which there are 24 minis, and to be clear, the other project is a scarf, so it still leaves more than half of a skein of minis, fingering weight minis, and so part of it is going into the scarf, another part is going into the cowl, and then the rest of the mini is going into scraps. So each project is going to have all 24 colors. It's just that neither one of them uses enough to justify it, so I'm making 2 projects with it. Alright, but I added and finished color 12 on the cowl at some point in these last couple weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like that. And so that's 54 rounds total, and it is 8.5 inches tall. So I have 12 colors so far, and that's half of it. And this is color 13. So I have not started adding it to either the cowl or the scarf, but this is the next color, and it has been wound up in the project bag for probably over a week. So yeah. Yeah, apparently wedding planning has caused me to forget things at this point. I mean, yeah, probably. I've probably forgotten a lot of things because of it, so. But yeah, I am very excited by this, especially since it's going to be very tall and can cover, like, this whole part of my face. But yeah, it is very exciting. And I just messed up my hair. Oh well. But yeah, you ready to see what completely derailed all of my plans to finish the Angelic Mystery Shawl and work on my other Advent projects? I'll show you. A little bit of backstory. I am gaining a sister-in-law in my marriage, and I love her to bits. She is such a personality, such a spitfire, and she's just I'm blessed to be gaining her as a sister. I'm also gaining a brother, but you've met him already if you've watched my Comic-Con videos. But she got married back in September, and at the beginning of the year, they, my sister-in-law and her husband, announced that they are pregnant, and so I am getting a little nephew. And because I crochet, I decided I'm making him a baby blanket. And so this is what has caught my attention and distracted me so much, is this baby blanket that is not needed until the end of June for the baby shower. But yeah, I am very excited to be getting a nephew because I like to tease my sister and tell her she's not giving me a niece or a nephew at any point soon, so at least I'm getting one now. But their colors in the nurseries are going to be kind of greeny, is what has been the most consistent one, and I could not decide what shade of green, so I am using the 2, which is absolutely perfect because I knew I wanted to use spike stitches in it somewhere. And I've had an idea for this blanket for months, but this really helps with the transition and the spike stitches and everything, but I am very excited about this. I am using 2 different colors. Both are the Sweet Delights yarn from Hobby Lobby. This darker one is Baby Sage. This lighter one is Green Light. And they are DK weight yarn. Recommended 4.5mm crochet hook. I'm using a 4mm crochet hook because it doesn't really make that much of a difference, but also you don't want the stitches too loose that the baby can get themselves stuck in it. It is 60% acrylic and 40% polyamide, so it is soft enough for new baby skin, but also it has washing instructions because it is safe to put in the wash, or at least hand wash, and you know babies, they can get messy. But yeah, the stitches I am using on this are the half double crochet repeat, which is the same one I used for my holiday candy projects from the 2023 advent calendars that I did. And like I said, I am also using spike stitches, and I did not do any sort of rhyme or reason to using the spike stitches at these spots in this pattern. I just randomly made chain spaces, and so some of them are double crochet spike stitches and others are half double crochet spike stitches, but it looks really cool and I cannot wait to finish it and give it to my sister-in-law for her baby. But yeah, in addition to these yarns, I also have a little bit more of a stash enhancement. Now, I couldn't just make my nephew a blanket and not get him a toy to go with it. And since I've already made my sister-in-law amigurumi Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore in the past, I decided I'm gonna make him a piglet because I need to complete the set at some point, and my sister-in-law really loves all the Winnie the Pooh characters, so I grabbed the yarn to make Piglet with at some point too. I decided to go with I Love This Yarn Super Soft in Sport Weight, because while they do have the worsted weight, it would end up being too big for my nephew when he's really little, so I wanted it to be more of a comparable size to him. So I grabbed this one, which is just called Pink, this darker pink, which is called Hot Rose, and then the black, which is just called Black. Go figure. But yeah, I am unsure at this point on if I'm going to purchase a pattern for Piglet and follow it, or if I am going to design one of my own. For the Eeyore and Pooh in the past, I have purchased a pattern, so I might see if that same designer has a good one for Piglet, or if not, find another good one. But yeah, that is my stash enhancement and all of my project updates. Since it is March and the beginning of a new month, I'm planning on next week recording another Stittionary episode. It'll be episode 3. I will link episode 2 in whichever corner it is up here. But if you have any ideas for the stitch for me to go over, please leave it in the comments down below. If you have any questions or comments about my projects that I'm working on or plan on working on, feel free to leave those in the comments down below. Other than that, I will see you guys in 2 weeks for another podcast episode. Hopefully. Hopefully I remember to do it and don't have too much going on. But anyways, thank you guys for joining me this episode. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. And also please subscribe if you find yourself enjoying me and my projects and my podcast. It really helps me out and keeps me motivated knowing that you guys are watching and enjoying what I talk about, because sometimes it gets a little awkward to be talking to yourself in your room. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys, and until the next time, happy crocheting!